Hello everyone and welcome to Fifth North. First and foremost, before we dive into the video that's coming up, I want to give you guys a bit of a precursor of everything that went down during the filming of this video. This is a video about a trip that Max and I took to Denver, and as far as the actual trip goes, we're talking about, the driving, the gas, the food, the everything with the actual trip itself went really well. No issues, no problems, no breakdowns, nothing. It was a really smooth trip. I cannot complain at all. With that being said, though, I cannot say the same for the video production side of things. First of all, big shout out to all you YouTubers who make travel videos because it is a lot more difficult than it looks. I had a rough outline in my head and a rough plan, and it didn't quite pan out that way. First and foremost, the audio ended up being terrible. We had 3 cameras with internal microphones. We had 2 external microphones and a voice recorder, which should have given us good audio out of one of those 5 sources. However, the entire trip, there was a 30 to 35 mile an hour crosswind. I was having a hard time keeping the truck straight on the freeway, so you can imagine how strong that wind was. And so no matter which microphone I pick from, you just hear a whole ton of wind. So I pre-apologize for this video when you watch it. I did my best to cut out as much wind noise as I could, but it's pretty bad. So just, before you dive in, just FYI, the wind noise is going to be pretty bad. With that being said, I also had some setting issues with the Insta360. So a lot of the 360 footage I wanted to use, I ended up having to settle for a single angle GoPro footage, because for whatever reason the Insta360 decided to go into super high ISO mode, and it basically made everything look grainy and kind of choppy and just not the way it should have looked. So since then I've had a chance to tweak the settings and get it right. Unfortunately, with this trip being kind of a rush with that particular camera, it didn't turn out quite as I wanted it to. So long story short, a great learning experience for me. I definitely plan to do more road trips and more travel type stuff with the channel, especially as I start doing longer rides with my bike. So there will be more footage and more things of that nature going forward. But I definitely learned a lot this time around that'll help make that future footage look a lot better. So anyway, like I said, long story short, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys can forgive some of the technical difficulties and some of the issues when it comes to the audio video. Now, the second part of the video is I did have a general outline of where we were going and what we were doing, but a lot of that was influenced again by the wind. So we stopped at 3 or 4 different stops, which were supposed to have their own sections with some vlog footage and some nice B-roll. Well, unfortunately, with the winds being so strong, there was no way I could vlog because the audio footage was just beyond usable, beyond unusable, and then 2, the wind was so hard or so strong that in a lot of situations it was hard to hold a camera straight. So we scratched even the B-roll in a lot of the places that we stopped at. So really we just kind of skipped forward through the entire journey, and there's quite a few pieces missing thanks to the wind, but again, it is what it is. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy what's left of it. Let me know down in the comments below of your epic fails when it comes to shooting and video, and hopefully they're not as bad as mine were. Anyway, let's jump in.
All right, good morning, everybody. Not sure if you can even see me. It's kind of dark. It's 3:37 in the morning, and I am driving to Max's house. You guys might remember Max from my last video when I talked about moving to Dallas. My best friend Max lives out here, so anyway, long story short, today, or I guess this morning, we're driving out to Denver, Colorado. It's about a 13-hour drive, so we're going to drive out there to see our good friend Ty and to do some things. So hopefully you guys are excited for the surprise, but we're going out there to do something pretty cool. I've been excited about it for quite some time, so hopefully everything goes smoothly, and yeah, that's pretty much it. If I'm rambling, I'm sorry. It is 3 a.m. and I literally have not slept at all. For whatever reason, my body decided, you don't need to sleep, my guy. On top of that, my daughter is 7 months. She's teething, so, between her and myself, it just didn't happen. So we'll see how this plays out. But anyway, I'll check in with you guys in a few minutes. Headed to Max's right now, and I'll introduce you guys to him as soon as we get there. All right, everybody, so I just picked up Max. This is my buddy Max. the one I've been telling you guys about. So we got about a 13-hour drive ahead of us. We're gonna get going, and we'll kind of jump back and forth as we go. So yeah, let's hit the road, dude. All right, we got everything. Should probably pull up the GPS, make sure I know where we're going. Hit up the old Apple CarPlay. Cool. All right, so for this trip, we actually rented a car, which is pretty cool, and pretty dope car, except for the fact that I don't really know how to drive it that well.
I was gonna say, you can just go down and around.
Down and around, all right.
Yeah.
So to give you guys a little frame of reference, I spent many a years driving a Mazda Miata, so I'm used to like small cars, and then for work, I drive a little hybrid. And then we rented a full-size Nissan Titan, so you know, just a little difference in size, but it's all good because we need a truck for what we're doing today. So, and we'll fill you guys in on what we're doing today a little bit later. But right now, Max and I are gonna hit the road, try to get out of town before the rest of the world wakes up, which shouldn't be a problem, seeing as how it's like 3:30. And we'll check back in with you guys when there's some actual light, so you can see what we're talking about.
3 hours later.
Alrighty, so we've been driving now for what, like 3 hours almost. We just passed Wichita Falls, so we're going from Dallas to Denver. About 3 hours into it, so about a quarter of the way, I would say. So long story short, reason we're going to Denver is because we're actually on the way to pick up my motorcycle. I'm actually buying a bike from my friend Ty. So before I go into the bike and what I'm getting, I wanted to tell Max, and then obviously tell you guys kind of my backstory on bikes and how all that came to be. So, and you know, mind you guys, we're gonna get interrupted randomly by the GPS freaking out and telling us we're going the wrong way and all the other jazz. So, you know, deal
Audio
with
is
that.
set to alerts only.
Okay,
Only important
thank you.
instructions will be announced.
Sorry.
So you know, you click on GPS be quiet, and then it talks for like 30 seconds. Anyway, so long story short, Max, the year was like 2006. You know, I was a young lad back then. Had my long hair, if you can believe it. And actually, no, I think we are switching to the 70 West. Yeah, that is accurate. Max and I are fighting the GPS because, you know, that's how you do it. You ask for help and then you don't listen. Anyway, so long story short, it was about 2006. I just started my freshman year of college. And so I always liked bikes. I always had a thing for bikes when I was younger. But I didn't really feel like my parents were that into bikes, especially because my uncle was really into bikes, but my dad wasn't. So I just kind of had this like idea in my head that like my parents would just be like, "Yo, are you crazy? Like you're not getting a motorcycle, you know?" And so I kind of suppressed that like, but I also liked cars, and it seemed like cars were more normal, more accessible. And even if you have like a regular car, you can modify it, have fun with it. You know what I mean? So it didn't seem so far-fetched to me to get a car and tinker with it, but getting a motorcycle was so much more of a luxury. Like not like a, you know, like a need, but like a want. So it never really made sense. And then I lived in Utah too, so we're talking like snow, winters, all that jazz. And so it just didn't make sense. So really I got into cars, I did my car thing, the car thing took off. And bikes I just kind of put on the back burner. I'd always like see a cool bike and be like, oh, sick, but I just kind of kept it, you know, on the down low. And then, I don't know, I guess I got to college and I was kind of like, you know what, like, whatever, I'm getting more into bikes. And I don't know how we got on the subject, but my dad and I were talking about bikes, and I kind of just smoothly slipped it in there. I was like, hey, so like, how would you feel like if I wanted to get a bike? Because, you know, you live at your parents' house, you got to get approval, you got to get, you know. And much to my surprise, my dad was like, I think it'd be dope. And I was like, a word? Like, you think it would be dope for your 18-year-old son to get a motorcycle? Like, that's okay. And he was like, yeah, I think you should try whatever you want to try. Like, go, go enjoy yourself. And so I was kind of surprised to hear that, but I was like, all right. But then I'm like, but mom's never gonna, like, maybe I got dad, but I'll never get mom. And my dad was like, oh, don't worry about her. I'll talk to her. You'll be fine. Like, we'll make it happen. And I was like, okay. And so much to my surprise, like a day or two later, my mom was like, oh, I heard you want to get a bike. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, okay, cool. And I was like, who are you guys? And what have you done with my parents? You know what I mean? It was very weird. But I was like, okay, I mean, I guess I'm getting older. Maybe they're seeing that I'm not a complete, doofus. So my dad calls my uncle and he's like, hey, man, Demir wants to get a bike. You've been into bikes forever. I don't know anything about him. Demir doesn't know anything about him. Can you give us some pointers? Can you, And so my uncle, having been on bikes forever, he was like, well, first thing you want to do is get a regular small bike. Like, you don't need anything fast. You don't need anything crazy. I don't need you killing yourself like 2 days in. And you're going to want to go get your license, go get the motorcycle safety test, all that kind of stuff. So I went out, my best friend at the time, we went out together. We did our motorcycle licensing. We both passed, and we both agreed we're going to get 250s. So 250s are super slow. They'll do like 45, 50 comfortably. They'll do 80, they say. Maybe downhill with a tailwind. You know what I mean? Like, they're not very powerful. And so we started looking around, and my uncle was at the time a big fan of Yamaha, and he was like, go look at Yamaha. And the Yamaha had a Virago 250, and so the Virago was great because it looked like a big bike. What's up?
McDonald's.
Oh, we pulling off?
Oh, we don't have to.
We're pulling off, you guys. We're pulling off. All right, so quick pause. We'll continue the story in a second. All right, y'all. Sorry about that quick interruption. Apparently, Max had to eat.
It's like going to the movies. You got to have food while you're being entertained.
There you go, right? You got to have the snack with the story. Anyway, so what I was getting at was Yamaha had a Virago 250, which is the bike that I ended up... Wait, where the hell am I going?
I think you want to go right. Go
See, you guys, I can't even tell you the story because we pulled off and now we're both lost. So we're going to have to figure this out right quick if this guy would...
Notice I didn't shut her completely off. I put her to where if we don't go the right way...
She yells.
Yeah. But now she's not saying anything.
Oh, Amarillo, we're going this way. Okay. All right, you guys. So anyway, the Yamaha Virago, what I liked about it is it looked like a big cruiser, right? It had the chrome, it had the big exhaust, it had like the tall handlebar, not super tall, but like when you're riding it, it didn't look like you were on a starter bike. It looked like you were riding something, you were like almost like on a Harley kind of a thing. Not quite, right? But like, so you get the look, you get the sound, you get the feel, without the ability to really kill yourself because you don't have a ton of horsepower, right? I think the horsepower rating on that bike was like 20 or something, It wasn't super powerful, but it was enough for me to learn and have fun on, which was what was important. So I think it was the perfect bike for me because it looked great. It was really comfortable. It was super relaxing, but not too fast to where I could really, do something crazy. And then at the same time, my buddy picked up a Honda Rebel 250. So we had two 250s, and we'd go out, ride around town, go on little mini bike adventures, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of how I got into bikes and really had a good time, and I enjoyed it. And, that lasted for about 2 years. And that's when I moved to Phoenix. And when I got to Phoenix, I needed to start paying for tuition. I was getting my bachelor's degree. And at the time, I was working so much, going to school, I just didn't have time to ride. And so, I saw the bike sitting there, and I was like, man, that's a semester worth of tuition right there, So I sold it. And I was getting ready to sell it anyway because I kind of outgrew it at that point. It was getting a little slow for me. But, I sold it with the plan of getting something bigger. But then, I paid for tuition. I kept paying for tuition. And then, we're getting ready to move to Seattle. We moved to Seattle, and then life this and life that and life this. And then my son was born. And then, something kept happening to where, like, we didn't have the garage space. We didn't have this. We didn't have that. the bikes just kept kind of hitting the back burner. And you know, finally after last year and all my crazy medical stuff and almost dying and all that, you know, insanity, I was like, you know what, man? I'm getting back on bikes. Like, I'm going to live my life and get back to the joy. And so that's why, you know, this YouTube channel is about photography and bikes and cars and things that I enjoy. And so obviously with bikes, I'm trying to get back on track with that. So long story short, while I'm going through chemotherapy last year, I'm just kind of looking at bikes and whatnot. You know, like you're sitting in that therapy chair for like 7 hours a day. Something to do, you know, looking around, looking at stuff. And I come across a Husqvarna VITPILEN 401, and I had never seen a VITPILEN 401 before. And I'll put up a picture on the screen or something so you guys see what I'm talking about in case you're not familiar. But I saw it and I was like, whoa, this bike is really cool. It's kind of got this like retro cafe racer, but then also kind of this like futuristic. So it's like neo-retro kind of, like it's a weird, you know, look. And I thought it was so cool. And another thing that really sparked my interest in bikes is when I was in college my first year, I was getting my degree in film and media production, and so was my buddy. And one of the classes we were taking was appreciation for animation.
Okay.
And we watched the movie Akira.
Oh.
And there's that opening biker scene, and we were both like, yeah, you know, like, let's get into bikes. So anyway, like this whole Neo-Tokyo, like retro futuristic, the cafe racer kind of got me going. And so I sent a picture of it to Ty, who I've mentioned earlier. He's a friend of mine who's also into cars, photography, bikes, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yo, Ty, this thing is sick. And Ty was like, I know it is, I have one. And I'm like, what? And he shows me a photo. He's like, yeah, I bought one. Like, I love it. It's great. I've been really enjoying it. Like, great bike. And I was like, well, what is it? Like, I don't even know what it is. I just saw a photo of it. Like, tell me what's good. And so he was telling me about the company, the bike. And he was saying that he liked it because it's a 401, which means that it's considered 401 cc's. But bikes are kind of like cars. Like, they'll say it's a 2.5 liter, but it's really like a 2410, you know, like not really 2,500.
Right.
So this bike is a 401, but it's really a 373. But I guess VITPILEN 401 sounds cooler than VITPILEN 373. I don't know. Maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know. I know VITPILEN means white arrow in Swedish. I think Swedish. So that's why it's called the VITPILEN. But anyway, long story short, it's a 373cc bike. So it's more powerful than the 250 that I used to own. The 250 was like 20 horsepower and like 10 torque. And this bike is like 44 and 19.
Okay.
So it's a little bit more than double the power, but it's still by no means like a super powerful bike. It'll do like highway speeds, but like not like super comfortably, you know? So it's not like a sport bike or like hella fast, but it's still like more than a 250 and it's fun. So in my eyes, I thought, you know, I haven't ridden a bike now in about 9-10 years. I don't want to get anything crazy. I don't want to, you know, I want to kind of work off the rust. I didn't want another 250 because I didn't want to, you know, grow out of it really fast. So I was like, I'll do the 401. It's a little compromise, you know, still kind of slow, but a little bit faster, a little bit more fun. And so I'm talking to Ty about, you know, I'm debating about getting that bike or another 400 I was looking at. And Ty goes, well, hey, man, I just don't have the time to ride right now. If you want to buy my bike, I'll hook you up. And I was like, well, tell me the details. And he was like, well, it's a 2019. It's got 800 miles on it, like barely broken in. And like, I know Ty really well. He like takes care of his stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he's about as OCD as we are when it comes to like just take care of his stuff. And so I know it's in great shape without even looking at it. And he was like, look, man, like you've been through a lot. I just want you to have fun and go do your thing. Like, I'll hit you up with a super low price. Like, come pick it up. It's all yours. And I was like, you know what? Done. I was already looking at a 401 anyway. You got exactly the bike I was looking at. It's the right color, the right year, the right everything I wanted. Let's go.
Well, plus now you know the person that previously owned it.
Right, because buying a used anything is sketchy, but buying a used bike especially. In this case, I don't feel like I'm buying a used bike because, like you said, I know the person very well, and I know everything's going to be good. So long story short, I bought the bike from him back in February, but I was up in Seattle, and that's about a 30-hour drive to Denver. and I wasn't trying to do that, right? And so knowing that I was about to move to Dallas, that drive goes from 30 hours to 12. So I was like, you know what? I'll wait. Plus, like, the weather will be better, easier drive, all that good stuff. And then, obviously, once I got here, I was like, well, dang, now you can come too. Make it a more fun experience. Let's go pick up the bike and meet up with Ty. So long story short, you guys, we're going to Denver to pick up my new bike. This is basically where my channel goes back into motorcycles. You guys will see my journey. And the VITPILEN is just the beginning. This will be my shake off the rust, ride the bike. Maybe for the summer, maybe for the fall, maybe for a year. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And then at some point, I plan to sell it, get a bigger bike, maybe get 2 bikes. We'll see. You know, we'll see how the channel goes and how it unfolds. But you know, that's kind of the plan. So it's kind of weird doing a dual camera setup because I feel like I need to be like, Kachinga, you know, and then just be like, camera, what's good, you know? Like, I feel like I'm like doing sports, and now the weather. I'm gonna do a bunch of random cutting as we fly off the road because I'm not paying attention, right?
Right.
But yeah, so long story short, we're on our way to Denver, pick up the VITPILEN. You guys have a rough idea of what this trip is all about. So I'll take you guys on the journey of us going there. We're gonna do a couple of stops along the way. Apparently there's some cool stuff to see between Dallas and Denver. We're going through Amarillo, Pueblo, Colorado Springs, then to Denver. On the way back, we might go a different way. We might go the same way. We don't know yet. But, you know, we'll figure it out. We'll take you guys along for the journey. And then, I don't know, this might be like a 1 or 2, maybe 3-part video, depending on how long it takes, how much footage we get, what we end up doing in Denver. Maybe I'll do a thing with Ty or something. I don't know. We'll check out the bike for the first time. And then obviously once I get it home, there'll be a bunch of cool stuff, you guys, like, you know, the first ride on the bike, checking out the details, breaking down the bike, doing a review, doing a bunch of upgrades, maybe some mods, you know, a bunch of different stuff. I'm going way too fast. No, I'm not. We're on video. We're in Mexico. We're fine. Actually, the speed limit is dropping, so
that's why.
Let's slow that down, yeah. Side note, we are in a rental pickup truck. Shout out to, you know, Budget Rental Car for totally jacking up everything. So, you know, Max, I hate to say it, like, I've been using them for a long time because we get a discount through work. And they've been so good. Like, every time I go, it's like flawless, everything's good, everything's cool. And then the one time I was really like specific on what I needed, it got jacked up.
Well, it's because they teased you the last time you were in town and the truck you got then.
Yeah, pretty much. And so I was hoping, you know, I was hoping for a, well, that sheriff was completely asleep.
Either asleep or just playing on his phone.
Candy Crush, man, Candy Crush. I was hoping for an F-150 because we've rented that the last like 4 times, 6 times actually, and it's been fantastic. Plus the EcoBoost actually gets pretty good mileage. And so that was kind of my hope with us driving, like, well, I think it's like 600 miles total each way. And so that was kind of the hope. And I get there and they're like, oh, we don't have any F-150s. Actually, we don't have any trucks at all. And I'm like, well, I reserved a truck. Also, I can't really put a motorcycle in the back of a Toyota Corolla. You know, like, this is kind of a problem. So they actually shuttled me to a different location and they had a Nissan Titan, which, I'm going to be fair, it's a Nissan Titan Pro 4X, completely decked out. It's got the Fender speakers, more buttons than I know what to do with. I mean, we're talking like rock crawl mode and locking diffs and sway bar connects and like all this. I don't even know what I'm saying. Like things that, you know, back in my off-roading days, right? So like from that perspective, the car is dope. It's leather, cooled seats, like it's hooked up. Panoramic sunroof, you guys might be able to see it. I don't know, I can't tell what the camera's doing right now. So from that perspective, super dope. What's not super dope, it's one of the thirstiest V8s in its class, so we're getting terrible gas mileage on the way to Denver, which sucks because it's not not cheap. And I don't know what this is doing right now. I'm controlling this instead of the thing. Anyway, long story short, last time I checked, we were getting like 18 miles to the gallon,
Yeah,
which
18.3.
22 would be a lot better, but I guess it could be worse. We'll see how bad it is when we got the bike in the back. But anyway, so long story short, off to Denver. We'll check in with you guys as we go. And we got some cool stops along the way, so we'll show you guys what that looks like. And yeah, see you in a bit. All right, so we are what, almost 6 hours in, so about halfway, a little less than halfway on the trip.
We're still in Texas.
Still in Texas, but we're in the what, Panhandle part.
Yes.
So we're about 5.7 miles away from Palo Duro Canyon, which apparently is the second biggest canyon in the country, right after the Grand Canyon. Which, ironically enough, I lived in Phoenix for 7 years and never went to go see. I don't know.
I drove right by it. The closest I was like 19 miles. I saw a road sign. Never went to it.
So I don't know. Maybe this is why I wanted to stop here, just to prove a point. Like I'm going to see a canyon for once. So anyway, we're about 6 hours in, getting a little tired not from a tired standpoint, but from like a sitting standpoint. So yeah, we're going to pull off, see if we can take some photos, get some video footage at the canyon, and then we'll cut through Amarillo, which apparently has some historical Route 66 stuff, which might be kind of cool. And then we'll go check out Cadillac Ranch, which apparently is a bunch of Cadillacs bought by a billionaire.
Something like that, yeah.
Who like buried them in the ground or something. I don't know. So we're going to figure it out. And then maybe get some food, because I'm getting kind of hungry.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's almost like 10 o'clock, so...
Because I was the selfish one and ate breakfast.
That's how we pulled over for the McDonald's. But anyway, yeah, so thanks for hanging with us. Like I said, 6 hours in, we got about, I'd say probably about 7 more to go, depending on stopping and all that jazz, before we hit Denver. But yeah, you guys will get to see some more footage of us just kind of plowing through literally the middle of nowhere. I mean, like...
I actually just looked. I can't believe this road is 75.
Yeah, like I genuinely, like there was literally just a wagon, like a horse-drawn wagon.
Yeah. I was gonna say, you're probably gonna have to pan around. Oh, look, we got the person walking down. Where are they going?
I don't know. This is like Oregon Trail up in here. Yeah, bro, you're like... Yeah, like, where is he going? There's nothing.
There's no gas station.
We didn't pass anything for like 30 minutes. Bro, oh, there's one house, I guess, so maybe just going for a walk? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess you're not worried about getting hit because nobody's out here.
I mean, like, I'm going to use the Insta360 to pan left and right for you guys here. Like,
yeah.
Literally, like, home on the range out here, like the middle of nowhere. So, yeah, we're going to keep on trucking, get you guys some more dope B-roll and, you know, cue the music. Alright, so we just crossed into New Mexico. It kind of snuck up on us. I'll be honest, we were reminiscing on the old times, you know, back before the bones hurt and all that good stuff. You know, not that we're that old, but anyway, we're reminiscing a little bit, and the sign snuck up on us. So we crossed into New Mexico. It's been, what, 8.5 hours?
I don't know. I've lost.
Is my math right? Because we left at 4.
And it's now 12:35.
Oh, but no, we lost an hour though. So it's 1:35 technically, right?
Oh, right.
So we've been going for 8.5 hours. So it's about a 12.5 hour ride. So we got about 4 more hours. So we're actually doing, no, we got a little bit more than 4.
Well, it's because we're taking the detour to.
Yeah, so we got about 5 hours left. So we're doing all right, but
yeah.
Long story short, we just entered New Mexico. We're gonna just cut that corner and then we should be in Colorado in just a little bit. And yeah, we'll check back in. We're going to the Garden of the Gods, so seemed kind of cool in the picture. So let's check it out.
Right.
All right, so we got everything connected up. Speed limit 55 again. Why?
We're getting all prepared to slow down.
Yeah. Let's see. So it's 1:51. So we'll just call it 2 o'clock, or technically 3 o'clock where we just were, because we gained an hour by crossing from Texas to New Mexico. So long story short, if it's 3 o'clock and we left at 4, means that if my math is mathing, we've been on the road for 11 hours?
Yeah.
Dang, okay. That kind of, all right. Which for you guys is super quick, because I'm going to speed this up into like 10 minutes, so you're welcome.
This whole trip in 10 minutes.
Actually, it's probably good I'm speeding up some things. And I'm doing that thing again where I'm like, this camera angle, that camera angle, that camera angle. I'm just going to have way too much fun cutting back and forth. Anyway, at this point, you guys, if we're not making sense and we're rambling, it's because we're tired and just saying nonsense.
Right.
Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, we're about to enter Colorado.
We've been doing that for about the past hour, too.
Yeah. There's a Camry in front of us, and it's got Colorado plates. And so I was like, Colorado. Yeah, so we're in New Mexico. We're about to cross into Colorado. And yeah, I think we're like a couple hours away from Garden of the Gods, about 2 hours away, 157 miles. And so we'll stop there, probably stop before then to get some gas, and then we'll stop there, do a little bit of sightseeing, do a little bit of photography maybe, or some video. We'll see. Last time we wanted to do video, the wind was really bad, and so audio didn't work, so I ended up just doing B-roll instead. But we'll see how it works when we get to the Garden of the Gods, which apparently is really cool, so we'll see what that's about.
Yeah. And with that kind of title, you hope it's going to be cool.
You know what I mean? Like, you would think that would be a thing, but we're down to 45. Okay. I guess we're in some small town. But yeah, so we're thinking we'll probably hit Denver around 7-ish. And then we might do some recording tonight. We'll see how the night goes. You guys might get to meet Ty tonight, maybe tomorrow. Not that that matters to you guys, because you'll see it, a few days after. A few days after I record it, so as far as you guys are concerned, same difference, right?
Right.
But yeah, Max, what do you think? What do you think the coolest or strangest or weirdest thing we've seen so far on this drive?
I mean, there hasn't been anything too crazy aside from like some of the occupants on the road whenever we first started out. We've seen some beautiful sights. I mean, there was a while there where it was just open fields and a lot of nothing. But then once we kind of got closer to New Mexico and Colorado, like just seeing the mountain volcano.
We did just see a volcano. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So that's been really cool. And then just seeing about the trip going up to Colorado, because I think I've done a trip once from New Mexico to Colorado, like through Colorado to Wyoming.
Yeah.
But I kind of slept through the whole thing because I wasn't driving. Now I have better company. It'll be interesting to see the climb because I'm from the East Coast, so like what people call a mountain and hills out here has a totally different meaning to what I think. But going up to Colorado, like I know we're going to do some serious climbing, so it'll be interesting to see how the road progresses. Are we going to notice it, or is it going to be one of those like we're going at such a slow angle that it's going to be kind of like, oh hey, now we're in Denver.
Yeah, I gotcha. Well, we just turned on 25 north, going towards Trinidad, and eventually Pueblo. But yeah, I mean, I know we've got a really huge climb ahead of us, so we'll see if it's gradual or not.
As we pull up in this
giant mountain-looking thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So that might be our answer, and we're just going to be going straight on 25 for, I think, all the way to Denver, actually, but at least 150 miles to Garden of the Gods. I would say my craziest or weirdest or coolest thing is, well, two things. One, I thought it was kind of random seeing a bunch of people like in the middle of nowhere, like middle of nowhere. Like that's just, to me, I was like, where did you come from? There's no houses nearby. There's no cars nearby. That was a dead deer. That sucks.
Yeah, Yeah, well, we're going for 70, and then in the middle of nowhere, it's like 55.
Yeah, so that was kind of weird. And then I thought the Cadillacs were kind of cool, the Cadillac Ranch or whatever.
Yeah, and it's actually like in the middle of a field. Like that's
Kind of random.
right, because you hear about it, but again, until you actually come and see the whole perspective, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is not exactly what you would think.
Apparently my phone is trying to do voice recognition or something. I don't know.
Oh.
That's the problem when you have too much tech running around it itself. Like everything's on Bluetooth trying to like do something, and then all of a sudden you got all these things like beeping and dinging and responding, and you didn't actually mean to initiate anything.
Right.
That, and we've got 3 cameras and a voice recorder going on right now, so who knows.
Oh yeah, like when you were recording the B-roll earlier and you said the R word.
And then it voice recorded and turned off. Yeah. Yep. That wasn't meant to be. Okay, so somewhere along here we should be crossing into Colorado, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, like on GPS it's showing like right here.
So when my dad and I drove from Phoenix to Denver, coming in through Santa Fe, I think we entered Colorado right here. And if I remember correctly, we're about to see some like super
Construction where they just like, hey, you don't need
just
a road.
janky road, like holy mackerel. You're gonna require like GoPro Hyper Smooth just to keep that looking decent. But there was some really beautiful scenery, so we might be in for a treat if I remember correctly. And when we went, there was like crazy colors too, and like foliage and all that jazz. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I've been checking out the weather and stuff, and I've noticed a lot of areas around here are under a red flag warning right now. So, but I'm surprised to see it's as green as it is right now.
yeah, I just hope we don't get cooked by construction, because construction can really ruin. Okay, yeah, I just saw that Jeep like catch air, so I'm gonna take it down a notch. Yeah, good thing I slowed down. That was, yeah. That's the other thing too. On the way back, when we have the bike, we gotta be more careful not to like
Right, like
stress out the straps or anything by bouncing up and down. Okay, I think the GPS lied to us because we should have seen the Colorado sign by now.
yeah. Well, that's why I took the picture. We'll have to put that in. Like it shows us.
It
right
shows
here.
it. We're not lying. But anyway, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see Ty. It's been, if I remember correctly, it's been about 7 years since I've seen him in person.
Yeah, see, I keep thinking it's 2017. You said it's 2015.
Yeah, it was 2015.
You would know when you got married.
I would know when I got married. You'd hope, right?
Right.
If my wife is watching, yes, I know when I got married. And then also obviously excited to see Ty and his wife. But then obviously excited to see the bike too. So I got to see one in person the other day. It was at a dealership. So I'm excited to see this one in person because obviously the one that I get to keep. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, we just hit some serious grades. So I think there goes your answer, Max. We're going up
Right.
up some hills.
Denver, 213.
213 to Denver.
And that Jeep lost a couple of flares.
Couple of flares. Yeah, man, I'm seeing a lot of construction cones. That's got me a little concerned.
Yeah.
Stay in your lane, bro. God, semi trucks are the worst. Like, stay in your lane. Alright, it should be any second now, so we're gonna keep on recording. I might just turn this into B-roll. I don't know.
Just B-roll until we
Voiceover until we get closer.
and then a shot of us being like,
We did it! All right, so we just got to Colorado Springs. We're a little bit behind because we stopped to get gas and then we stopped to get food separate, but still doing pretty good. You know, it's no real rush, you know, so we're good. We're thinking we'll probably get to Denver around 8. Right now, we're pulling off to go see the Garden of the Gods. Apparently, it's a cool place to check out, so we'll pull off for a little bit,
Yep.
see what's happening, and then
Grab some pics.
grab some pics, take some vids,
Yep. We'll...
some vlogs and some selfies, and all the YouTube things, and then hopefully we don't hit any more construction because that's been kind of rough. There's been a lot of construction.
Yeah.
So.
And accidents or whatever kind of slowing us down.
We're still sane though, so that's good. We got a little loopy there for a minute. I'm gonna have to release like a blooper,
Right.
like a blooper reel of all the random stuff that happened in between. But anyway, yeah. So waiting for this super duper long red light. My goodness. And then we're what, 3.5 miles away. So we'll come back to some B-roll, and you guys can check out the Garden of the Gods.
Yep.
All right, so we just got to Denver. Max went to go check us into our hotel room. Yeah, we're not even gonna like rest or anything. We're just gonna, like I said, Max will check us in, and then we're gonna go up to Ty's house. I haven't seen Ty in like 7-8 years, so just kind of excited to go see him. We're gonna kick it with him for a little bit, and then probably tomorrow we'll show you guys the bike, and we'll get everything else kind of going. So yeah, I think that's kind of it for tonight. We're tired. We need, to get our brains together. We're both totally cooked. So anyway, see you in the morning. Good morning, everybody. So we were supposed to go to Ty's house last night, as I said in the previous clip, and you guys were gonna go with us and all that, but when we got there, we just kind of hung out, and I kind of forgot to record. So anyway, so yeah, we got to see Ty and his wife last night, had a good time, just kind of caught up. It's been like 7 years, so it was nice to see them. It is obviously the next day, so right now we're gonna go back to Ty's house, and we're just gonna go kick it for a little bit, do some Colorado stuff, and then in the afternoon we'll get the bike, so you guys will see the bike then. We'll get the sucker loaded up, do the there's a lady like almost falling in the mud right there. Do the actual transaction, get the bike loaded up, strapped down, and prepare for our journey back. So anyway, should be fun today. Hopefully we'll do some cool stuff, and then just kind of kick it. All right, so I'm here with my buddy Ty that I mentioned earlier. We're gonna check out the bike here, so he's gonna kind of give us a quick rundown around just a couple of pointers before I take it home, and a couple of things that might be unique to the bike. So let's check it out.
Isn't going anywhere. Also have a disc lock for the disc brake. You pop it in, it won't go in all the way. Go ahead and get your key in there. And you'll see it'll go most of the way. And then if you go ahead and give the bike a little... Oh, I guess I did that wrong. Hold on. There we go. Bink.
Clicks right in.
And this will make it a lot harder for people to steal it and a lot safer when you store it. Removing it's pretty much the exact opposite and much simpler. Pull it out. I got a little plastic insert for you. I still got to give you so you don't get dirt and stuff in there. The seat's a total pain in the ass to take off. Pull the... You can like feel it pull a cable. They yank the seat back. Then you can let go. Pull it out.
That'll be what, your fuse box, your battery.
Negative and positive for charging in. You got your fuse box and you got your air intake box here. A lot of people to mod this pull off this top piece and they buy just like a foam. People make little like foam caps so it opens up that air box more. This is all pretty stock. Startup's pretty easy. Push down so that the lock releases. There you go. Just takes a little bit of effort. So if you have the side stand down, it'll tell you You can actually start it with the side stand down or without it down. I personally like to kind of know what I'm doing, so I like to pop it up, pull the clutch into it.
Mm-hmm.
You could have just literally pressed the button with the side stand down, but I like to kind of know where I am, and then I have my clutch, and then I'm in neutral, gear 0. That way, you have an ABS light until you start rolling. As soon as you go over 4 or 5 miles an hour, that will turn off. The fuel range on these is super picky, and you won't see it for a long time. If you go ride, it'll take take an hour cycle or something for it to start figuring out properly. If you refill it, it'll get really weird. It has a really slow cycle for rereading the fuel range.
What's the range on it? How far do you normally go?
I think it can go 150 miles on a tank. I think it's a 2.5 gallon tank, if I'm right. 2.5 liters, something like that. Pretty good gas mileage. I've never gone that far on it.
Do about 100 and fill it up.
Yeah. You do have regular fuel meter here, so yeah, basically as soon as I start seeing 2 or 3, I go fill it up, because that also isn't super responsive. I've never seen this bike get hot at all. It's actually, even when you're riding it, it's pretty cool bike.
Pretty mellow.
Compared to that Triumph, is really hot bike.
As far as
your mirrors are good, you can tighten them here.
As far as RPMs, I see it goes pretty high. I'm assuming it doesn't rev that high though.
Oh, it pretty much does.
What's redline? What do you want to not exceed?
I'm not 100% sure where they actually have it set. During break-in, which is the first 500 or 600 miles, it was low. It was like 7 or 8, and it would be blinking at you and pissed off. Now it'll around 10 or so before it gets mad. I think I maybe hit the rev limiter once, in the first, missed something, but I haven't really noticed it at all. And it has so much power from 6 to 8, that you don't really, I didn't find myself revving that high constantly.
Cool.
It's not a sport bike, it's a just tear around town bike.
Cool.
Super light, super fun, super easy to ride, not too loud. Everybody loves the style.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool style.
Pretty hard to go wrong with it.
All right, good morning, everybody. Another. Oh yeah. Yeah. Shut up.
I just want
Max thinks he knows his stuff all of a sudden. Lock the door before we get shanked. All right, good morning, everybody. Still clearing my throat here. It is 3:51 a.m. again, so another nice and early day. Yesterday went off without a hitch. We had a great time hanging out with Ty and Michelle. Got the VITPILEN 401 transaction all completed. She's in the back of the truck right now, which is great. And everything's strapped down and ready to go. We got all of our stuff packed up, and now we're gonna head back to Dallas. We got 13 hours ahead of us. GPS says 11 and a half, but you do have to eat and stop and all that. Plus we lose an hour. So there's that. But yeah, overall everything went great. Now we just got to figure out how to get out of this parking lot, and we should be on our way. All right, so as you guys can see, I'm standing in my garage. I've got the VITPILEN 401 right in front of me. So obviously that means we made it back to Dallas safely. The bike is here now, safe and sound. I'm super excited. I'm going to do a video coming up soon on how I'm going to detail the bike, give it a nice thorough clean. And then I've got another video coming up where I talk about my first ride on the bike and kind of my initial impressions. So keep an eye out for both of those. But with that being said, going backwards a little bit, I hope you guys enjoyed the video that you just watched. I know the audio wasn't great. I know some of the technical stuff didn't quite work out. Obviously, we chopped it up quite a bit and we're missing quite a few pieces, but again, it is what it is. Hopefully all of our travel videos and road trip videos going forward are a lot smoother. Anyway, if you like this video or if you just enjoyed watching the journey, go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It does help me out quite a bit.
and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.